inside and
Sweet Home Alabama, play it! You guys shred! 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 You guys shred!
Welcome to You Guys Shred. When your first show is in a church, you battle spiders in Australia, and you have to be Lindsay Sterling's Christmas tree. I am your host, Keaton Stewart.
I'm your co-host, Tyler Christensen.
If you guys like what we're doing and want to support the podcast, please subscribe, share, and review. It really means the world to us and helps us out. You can find our musical project, Poet Bones, on all your preferred streaming platforms, as well as our merch at poetbones.com. Today's guest is a very silly goose, a good friend of ours. He plays in a band called Blue Widow. They have 2 new singles out right now. Please enjoy Kris Hartman. Thanks for coming on, Kris.
Of course.
Good to have you here.
Sorry I was late.
It's you know.
It's hard.
It's okay.
It's hard being a piece of shit, you know?
His pushback, not slick.
You think this is
slick back?
This is pushback.
Anybody that doesn't understand, I think you should leave. Should probably turn the episode off now because that's probably going to be
it's going to
like
be
90%
those,
of the references to that show. But I mean, you shouldn't be watching this if you don't like. I think you should.
Yeah,
leave.
and if you haven't watched it, please do because it's maybe the greatest television show
You're
ever
welcome.
created.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So, marriage is what brings us here together today. Honestly, what I really want to start with, I mean, we could talk about your band Blue Widow and your new songs coming out, but really what I want to really get to the root of is this photo right here.
Oh, fuck, I know the photo you're bringing up.
If we just put that on the over the screen there.
I don't even have
do you want
to
just
see
kind
it.
of
I know
describe
exactly
what's going on in this?
This is what...
This comes up on my feed every Christmas.
That picture shows you the power of how nice Lindsay Sterling is and the power she has over her crew. Because it was literally what happened. I was just happened to be walking across the stage when she was rehearsing that song. She's like, "Oh, help me hold this while because she plays violin and sings during the song and has to switch off between the two. And she's like, "Oh, just help me rehearse this song real quick."
For the Christmas,
and
she does like a special Christmas show?
Yeah, she does like a Christmas tour every year.
Okay.
And this was the first year, and she...
What year was this?
2017.
Okay,
like
pre-Pandy. Where were you guys rehearsing at? Just up in Salt Lake?
No, it's this... God, I can't remember the name of the theater. It's in Pasadena, California.
Oh shit. Okay. So
yeah,
it's out
Frank
there.
Zappa
But she's
used
from
to
out
play
here,
there and
right?
stuff. She went to school here.
Oh,
she went to
okay.
BYU for a little while.
Okay. So you got. I mean, I guess to back up, how did you get on the tour with her?
This dude that I was friends with at the time was working for her, and I was just doing local stuff, setting up video walls and doing stuff. And then he got offered a better position with a different person and kind of a more at-home job. And he's like, "Hey, you want to tour with Lindsay Sterling?" He just sent me a message on Instagram, and he's like, "Hey, you want to tour the world with Lindsay Sterling?" And I was like, "What the fuck?" Yeah,
that's just how that happens.
Yeah,
how that works out of nowhere.
And had only been doing stage work for a year or so.
Oh, wow.
So it's just like kind of jumped a bunch of steps.
So you're just happen to be walking across the stage. Are you like carrying something? Or are you just going and doing your... Because you're probably not thinking of anything,
Yeah,
right?
I
You're
can't remember the exact
her.
details, but making some set piece or getting something ready for the tour.
Right, so you've been
we
walking...
had like a whole week of pre-pro to like build the set, get the shit ready, rehearse all the stuff, basically oil the machine to take it out onto the road and get it ready.
So you've been in... So how long had you been in Pasadena rehearsing then?
We were there for about maybe a week or two.
And so at what point in the week is this... At what point in like the week? Like how many days in?
I want to say it was probably like 4 or 5 days in.
So you're really just last minute, and she just paint the scene. So you're just walking by, and then she's what?
She's just like, "Oh, hey Kris, can you just help me with like we're rehearsing this song. Can you just hold my violin while I sing this part and help me pass this back and forth real quick while we figure out what we're doing?" And she's like, "Actually, this is great." And then I was just like,
"Hey, you know how there's like actual stands? Fuck that.
Yeah.
I'm already paying you. Might as well."
And she always tries to incorporate her crew into her shows and
she
stuff
does.
and have it be kind of a family thing and have everybody be involved.
It seems like she's, I mean, obviously she takes it serious, but she's having fun with it.
Oh, she's her. And if anybody wants to have a good time, go to a Lindsay Sterling show. Even if you don't like your music, I guarantee you'll have a good time because she puts on one hell of a show.
I mean, based off this photo, which should go across the screen as we're doing this story,
Yeah.
is just amazing. So is she like, well, you can't just stand here without a costume?
Yeah, she was like basically like, okay, well, you're gonna help me do it during the show. Like, we got to get you a costume because you're gonna be a part of the show. We might as well have you be dressed up and do something. And I don't know how the Christmas tree came to thing. I think they're just shopping on Amazon for.
They're just going,
You didn't take another Christmas tree's
Like,
job.
oh,
did you?
like, that works.
Just so it wasn't even like, oh, there's other trees or like it's part of the song. They're just like, oh, this would be fun if we put him in something ridiculous.
Yeah.
So you had to every night get in that and go out for the one song.
Oh yeah, and I had to like keep track of my costume. There's so many nights where I'm like, fuck, where's my tree? Shit, I'm supposed to be on stage in like 2 minutes.
I mean, if we're not going too deep, what's going through your mind as you're putting that on in front of the mirror?
Just being like, man, the things you do for a paycheck. This is ridiculous. The things.
Did you ever think in
I was
your
like,
life,
I
you're
never
like,
thought like,
you never
I'm
thought-
gonna be a musician. I'm gonna go somewhere that led to this point of
Cutting
putting on.
you in front of the mirror with the thing, being like, what the
What
fuck?
the fuck am I doing with my life? No, and it looks like
You need to do a music. Wait, so do you still have that, or is
I
she
do.
out?
I
I was like, you should
part
do a
of the
music
thing, I was
video
like,
with
this-
that on.
I'm the tree now. I'm keeping the tree, and they have.
You should cover one of her songs in the tree and like, hey, you know what I mean?
That'd
Like
be
just as like a
fucking funny.
little TikTok video
Yeah.
for fun or a YouTube thing.
That'd be
Because
good.
you shred, just get on there and cover one of her songs.
Her songs are hard, but I'll try. That'd be good. That'd be cool.
Or if it's TikTok,
Yeah.
you just do like 30
just
seconds.
a little. Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't have to just pick an easy part.
I think that everyone would love that. And then anyone that's been to the show and seen you,
Yeah,
they'd
but
be like,
she's
oh,
got-
that's the guy.
She's got her tour manager Eric doing it now. He's the tree now.
Oh.
So there's a tree, and I will say,
Wait,
I went,
what was the draw? You're like, I don't want to be the tree anymore.
I just needed to take a break from touring at the
Okay,
time, and I was
okay.
like, I got to take a break from the road, and they're like, we're still gonna keep going, obviously.
Don't lie to me.
so-
What did you just be like? I can't be this tree
I'd be like,
anymore.
this is too much weight to
There's
carry.
too much fucking shit on me.
Yeah,
I can't
got too
breathe.
much shit on me. I'm gonna rip the fucking head off.
The decorations actually do kill. You don't know.
The presents for shoes, they do kill.
Presents for shoes. I
Yeah.
didn't see that. Yes. Yes. Oh my god, that's amazing.
But yeah, I still have it. It's in storage. I was looking at it the other day, and I was like, Christmas tree. But
you need to put those on shirts.
I will say,
put that on a shirt and just Blue Widow on the
Yeah.
bottom.
it'd be fucking hilarious. But I will say, went and saw her most recent tour, her Christmas tour. Went there with a couple buddies, and I will say, Eric is a better tree. He's a better tree
He's
than
just
I was.
taller.
He's a better tree.
What do you mean?
He's more charismatic.
Okay.
He puts on
I
a
would
better
argue
show.
it's funnier because you're not charismatic.
Yeah.
You come out with like a pissed off. They're like, "That's so funny that they."
And
this
that was
guy
like
just,
part of the gag because I really did not hate it. I was like, "This is whatever, it's fine." But like looking like you're miserable and you're like,
It
"Why
makes
the
it even funnier.
Why? You make them
That's
do the
why
most
this photo's
ridiculous shit."
amazing. Yes. Oh my god, I love it. But you've been on tour with a couple different bands, and you've done all kinds of You've been out on. I mean, you've gone around the world, right?
Yeah, I
Cool
toured
things,
with
right?
Lindsay for quite a while, for a couple years, and then I was working with this band called the Piano Guys.
Oh yeah, yeah, they're
or
huge.
another,
Yeah.
was working with them for a little while. They're good people.
Oh, that must have sucked to haul around all their because they do actual upright baby grand pianos.
Yeah,
right? That
but
would
they've got
fucking
a
suck,
sick
right?
ass like road case and a whole well-oiled machine. Like they get the piano set up. In,
I
like,
used to have to
10
move.
minutes.
Like I was a mover in my youth, and
Oh,
that like
yeah.
those were the worst pianos to move.
Oh yeah.
Like let alone
No, they
fucking
have
4
this
of them or whatever it is
giant
for
ass-
their tour.
They have this giant ass road case for it that they like tilt it in and
It
out
just
of.
folds like
yeah, and they
Play-Doh.
just like drop it out of and put the legs on, and it's like sets up in 10 minutes.
How many people have to do that though?
Like 5 or 6 people, I want to say.
But that
It's
sucks.
yeah.
Still.
I mean, that's why you hire.
But
a
they
local
also did
crew.
like
That's what they're getting
they
paid
always
for.
had like cool elaborate sets too, right? That's their whole thing, right?
Pretty elaborate. I mean, it's kind of they figured out their thing and they're just sticking to it. They've got.
Okay.
I mean, they change it up here and there, but
Elton
I haven't
John.
seen the show recently, but they were cool. And then I was working with Backseat Lovers for
I was
a
gonna
little while.
say you just recently went out with those
Yeah.
guys. Yeah.
Did a little test run with those guys. They're cool.
Yeah.
They're good dudes.
Good old rock and roll. You went to like New York or something, right?
Yeah, we did CBS Good Morning.
Oh, I do remember you seeing those photos
in
that
Times
day.
Square. That was cool. And then
Was that your first time there?
It was my first time working in Times Square. I've been to Times Square before, but I've
okay.
never like worked in Times Square. And I was like, it's very quick.
Yeah, I bet.
And then
Because you're just as a guitar tech, right, for them?
yeah, or it's like backline, so taking care of the drums, and
just
stuff,
doing all
but
that stuff for them.
mostly guitars. And then we did.
What was it like being there at the Good Morning America? Is it weird? Like,
It's a little weird. Like,
is it like surreal?
it's a little surreal. I don't know. Television is just very strange. It's very different than live music. The way
Yeah.
they operate and how they do things. It's just like.
Did they have like their own sound person, or did
Yeah,
they...
and they have like their whole own crew and
Mm,
little scene set up and area, and it's
Yeah.
crazy. It's like such a well-oiled machine, and it moves so quickly. Like you don't like touch anything really. Like
really?
you just back your truck up. They have loaders unload everything for you.
But is it like a
bring
big
it through-
tall building, right?
Yeah, it's a big,
And
huge
it's Times
building.
Square, so it's like really busy New York.
Oh yeah, and you've got people screaming at you for like fucking up traffic, and it's just a part of New York. That's just what you got to
Yeah,
do.
exactly. I've never heard. I mean, I guess maybe in California too, but like being in New York, just hearing so many horns just nonstop.
Yeah, people just yell at each other, and
It's beautiful,
but it's not.
it's
in
like
a,
its
like
own
a
music.
confrontational sort of assholey way. It's just like, hey, asshole, fucking move.
Yeah, I guess I've experienced that in London too. That's always funny.
Yeah.
Fuck you, mate.
Yeah,
That's always good.
people
shit.
are mean in London.
Yeah.
people are mean.
You know.
Yeah. they're
Where's the
mean.
craziest place you've been to with a band?
Ooh,
You can't say Good Morning America. We already
No.
talked about it.
New Zealand probably. New Zealand.
Oh
was
wow,
crazy.
that's way out there.
Yeah, or Australia. Australia was cool too.
Oh my God, you've been all the way to. Who'd you go to Australia with? Lindsay Sterling?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah,
man.
it was cool.
Was it super hot?
I think it was. It was decently. I think we were there in like the spring, so it wasn't like super hot yet. But holy shit, the goddamn spiders in
Yeah,
Australia.
that's the crazy
they're
thing. It's
huge.
like
And they're everywhere.
Isn't it like there's like two? I mean, obviously, broad strokes here, but there's like, say, 200. Like the most 200. There in the planet we live on. There's 200 some odd, dangerous poisonous spiders, and like 198 of them are in Australia or
Yeah.
something like that.
Dude,
It's like something crazy.
Showing
like
up
that.
at the baggage claim, and there's just a spider coming down
Are
out of
you
like the ceiling,
serious?
and people are just like, move around, and you're like, there's a giant spider, and people are like, yeah, it's just Australia. You're like, he's fine. You're like, what the fuck? And then I was in my fucking, can't remember what, I think it was Perth, but I was in my hotel room, left my door open for a second, and like, bird comes in, and he's just chilling in my room. I'm like, okay, hell yeah, seagull. Like, we're hanging out. Yeah, and then
Why?
later in the night, look up, and there's like a bird-eating spider the size of like a dinner plate on my wall. And I'm just like mortified. So I go down to the lobby, and I was like, oh, yeah, there's a like huge spider in my room. And they're like, yeah, welcome to Australia. Like, there's nothing we can do about it.
They're just like, dude, get fucked.
Yeah, you're like, you fucking pussy. And they're like, I was like, is there anything we could do? Like, get rid of it? And he's like, if I got rid of that one, there'd be 2 more in like an hour. And I was just like, Jesus Christ.
Damn.
I was like, I'm going to go drink at the bar until I'm like comfortable sleeping in this room.
Yeah, were there? Oh, how did you go to sleep? That's insane. There's no way I could go to sleep.
I mean, you just have to take it into mind. You're like, that thing is more afraid of me than I am of it. Like, it's,
You don't think it's gonna crawl on you at night?
and even if it does, it's not going to like,
Ooh.
yeah. I'm asleep. I don't know. Who cares? Who cares? I don't know about it. I don't
Bang,
care.
bang, 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 bang. Reload. Bang, 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 bang. Fuck that. Did you see any spiders? Fucking idiot.
No, not one.
Did you see any snakes?
Didn't see any snakes.
Nightmare, nightmare, nightmare. It literally cured his spider problem.
But man, I
You're
just
like,
love the
oh, no.
people in Australia. They're so funny. Just the way they speak with each other and how they.
Yeah, very
Go back-
light. It's very lighthearted.
Yeah.
It's
Everyone
like
is
it's like
very,
you take
joking.
a Hawaiian look on life, and then you just add the British element to the Hawaiian life. So it's like very laid back and cool, but funny as fuck.
And then
Jim Jeffries.
New Zealand's, they're very similar, a little more.
Yeah. I mean,
Island.
some of my favorite like directors, like Taika Waititi's out of there, and Jermaine, like Flight of the Conchords, and What We Do in the Shadows, and
Oh, that
all
show's so funny.
yeah, all those shows. And that dude, he did Thor Ragnarok and a bunch of other cool Hunt for the Wilder People movies. But
Sick.
they're just like Australian. It's almost like New Zealand's humor is even funnier to me because it gets even drier. It's the same kind of thing, but even drier.
Yeah, it's just I
It's
fucking
so good.
love dry
Yeah,
humor.
It's such a good humor. But coming back to, I guess, the touring aspect of it, I think I remember you saying once that you worked with, you've worked with artists like Kiss, haven't you?
Yeah, that was actually I was playing in a band. I wasn't even being at Tech.
What?
Yeah.
You guys played with Kiss?
We played the Kiss Cruise. It's a cruise
Oh,
ship.
that's right. Yeah.
It was so fun.
What band were you playing with?
It was called the Jake Johnson Band. This dude, Jake Johnson.
When was that? Wait, Jake Johnson's band?
Jake Johnson's band. The band of Jake Johnson.
He just formed it. He's not in it.
Yeah. I grew up with that kid a little bit here and there, and then we played music as kids together in this group called Music Garage. And
Did you play guitar for him then?
I played bass.
Oh, okay.
And his stepdad is the bass player for Bon Jovi.
No way.
Huey. Yeah. He was a
Wait,
good
so
dude.
what kind of music?
It's like rock and roll, straight lace rock
Just
and
straight
roll.
rock and roll,
Yeah.
playing the Kiss Cruise.
Yeah.
That must have been fun.
Dude, and Steel Panther was on it.
Oh, dude.
Lita Ford. And
Dude. So how was it, like a week-long
it was
tour
like a
or two?
3-day cruise.
How many did you just play once? Or you play
We
multiple
played
times?
like 3 times.
Okay.
Throughout,
each
the
day?
weekend. We played like each day and then like the
Interesting.
nighttime. And
Were you on the same? Royal Bliss has done that. Were you on the same one that they did?
I don't know.
Uh,
I think they are doing a Kiss cruise. I think they did one. Or
they have in the
they have.
past. I don't know if they're.
We weren't
doing
on
it
the same
still,
one. That one.
Okay. But where did you end up going? Like Mexico or?
We went to Jamaica.
Oh shit, that's
yeah,
cool.
It was cool. Jamaica's sketchy. Jamaica is sketchy.
Wait, was it good? Was it hard? Was it weird playing like on the boat? Like, was that hard to get
dude,
used
it was
to?
so weird. Because like I'd also be like, oh, I gotta have like a little drink before I get on stage because I'm nervous as shit.
But
and I was
do you like move?
Yeah, the boat is like the stage is moving like this because you're on water.
How big was the stage that you guys?
It was like a
on?
tiny stage. We didn't play the main stage. We played in like the casino.
I was gonna say, so you didn't play outside. You played inside.
Yeah.
So that's probably more of even a head fuck.
Yeah,
because
and
you're
it's
moving,
like
but you can't
trying
see
to like
what's
rock
going
out,
on.
and the boat's moving against you, and you're like, "What? I swear I'm not this drunk." Like I had a shot.
That's pretty cool. How long
dude, and then being hung over on a boat is
yeah,
the
it's a new
worst.
level,
New level.
Dude, different, and then you got to go work the day.
Yeah, that same night you're like, how
Did you guys
much-
get free
Cool.
drinks?
Yeah.
How
There was
was
like an
the-
artist lounge that had
How was
just
the
free drinks.
like sleeping arrangements? Did you get nicer cabins than people, or just the
No,
same
we just got the same
cabins, worse cabins?
And it was like 2 beds, and I shared it with Jake. And
Okay, so it's not you like you hear those stories about like the crews on those ships have like the crappiest like living situations. So I was wondering if they just like for bands they just throw you in there.
it was a
too.
tiny ass room, but
What was the
we still
prep?
had fun.
What was the prep for something like that? Like, was there any week or so?
Is that
spent
when you started
rehearsing,
playing with
or-
him as well?
No, I've been
You've been
playing with
playing
him
with
for
him
a
for a
while
while.
at that point. I can't remember all of the prep. It's happened so long ago, but I know. I'm pretty sure we had to like ship our gear off or something like that.
Oh wow.
Or
Yeah, because I imagine you don't show up to like customs with you like your.
Was that
case
the
and stuff.
only
Yeah.
tour that you, or was that just part of a bunch of other dates you guys went on?
it was just like a little one-off.
Oh, okay.
We just did that, and then he's also.
Was it? I mean, before we get onto that, was it more like a vacation than like playing shows? Like, was it super cool?
Oh, dude, it was vacation the whole time.
Yeah, I've always
It
wanted
was
to
such a
do one of
blast.
those.
It was
I
probably
thought it would be
some of
so
the most
cool.
fun I've ever had.
Yeah.
It was so much fun.
I bet, man. Because I mean, you got to go. I mean, what, an hour set maybe?
It was like 45 minutes.
Work
yeah, or
for
an hour.
45 minutes
Yeah, an
that
hour.
day.
And
Work for an
free
hour, and
drinks
then
and
just
food
go,
all day
and then
long
just go hang out. And yeah, it
just
sounds
go
like the ideal job for
Yeah.
a musician. Just go hang out. I have a buddy that does the blues cruise ones and stuff. Shout out Chris Saul.
I know Chris.
Yeah,
Chris is the
my boy
man.
Chris Saul.
I love
He keeps
Chris.
doing those blues cruises, and I'm like, I fucking hate you.
You're like, "Ugh." Those cruises, I hear are pretty rough for the crew though. Sometimes. I mean, Chris.
I think
still
it's
does
a
it, so
lot, but I think it's the. I think
It's
you
just
said
very
it depends
different.
on who you work with, what
Mhm.
cruise liner you're on, all that kind of stuff, what
obviously, so
festivals
many
you're doing.
variables, Yeah.
But it seems like every time he does it, it seems awesome.
Yeah.
So
Sounds like a lot of fun. I want to go
yeah,
on more cruises.
if we're talking
They're a
about it, I
blast.
want to do it. I want to
People
do
get
it.
crazy on cruise ships.
Dude, why not?
When you're in like
Why
open,
not?
when
Life's
you're in
short.
open waters and there's like no laws,
Yeah.
and people are like, "Let's do some crazy stuff," and you're like, "Okay."
Elaborate.
Uh,
Somebody pee off the boat.
I can't remember. No.
He's like, I'm sure. There's a difference between peeing in the pool and peeing into the pool, Chris.
Is there? Nah.
Peeing in the pool and then paying into the pool.
One's a lot cooler than the other one.
I would argue both
Pissing
of
your
them
pants is cool.
All the cool kids are
Wait,
doing
can
it.
you remember? Can you remember anything?
A lot of weed smoking.
Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't?
Obviously.
I mean, yeah.
Oh,
Why do I want to have a good time? So getting onto the subject of your band Blue Widow, this has been you guys have been in the works on new music and working on stuff for a long time. This has been like
3 years in the works.
Yeah, and you're finally released some music. You got 2 songs out right now. How does it feel?
Feels so good.
It feels great.
Feels great.
It actually does feel good. You don't know.
It actually does kill.
It actually does kill. So, kind of just talking me through the inception of the band. I mean, what was the spark to start the band? You've been playing guitar, you've been recording your own music for a long time.
So,
when is the point where you're like, I want to start my own band?
Yeah, I was working with Lindsay out on the road, and we were doing a European tour, and I just remember being like so fucking depressed watching
in this tree costume.
No, this was
just kidding.
This was the Artemis tour. This was just a normal tour.
Normal tour. No tree costume.
I remember being so depressed watching people go out on stage every night and play, and me just standing side stage and being like, "This isn't."
That's what I want to do.
This isn't enough. And like, part of me felt greedy, being like, "You should be so grateful for this," because like people would kill to have this job in this position. But I was like, "This just isn't good enough for me." I was like, "I want something greater. I want more." So I was like, "I need to like pursue this music shit."
Yeah.
Just to at least say I tried.
Yeah, and you also can do both at the same time.
Yeah.
And then also, that's something I feel like we always come around to on this podcast. Is like, you don't know if you didn't try.
Exactly.
Like, you don't want to live your life saying,
I would
what
much
if?
rather being like, I tried and failed than being like, I didn't even
Exactly.
fucking try.
Exactly.
Because what's the point?
Exactly.
What is the point?
So you get off tour with Lindsay and you're like, I'm just going to start writing my own stuff. Or were you already incepting ideas of like, I want to have this kind of band. I want to write this kind of music.
I wasn't
already
even, I had no idea. I was just like, I need to start a band and like do the thing. But
you weren't thinking what kind of music style?
I was like kind of, but not. I was like, I know I want it to be like significant, obviously, but it's like I want it to be kind of different, but not too different at the start.
But you've always been into heavier music,
type
right?
of stuff, and
the Brutals.
And then I got home from that tour, was starting to like figure out what I was gonna do, figure out how I was going to make money and all that shit from not touring and stuff.
Right.
And then COVID happened.
So it didn't matter anyways.
Yeah. And then I went into a tailspin because my entire identity got deleted overnight.
Yeah.
And
which everyone did for, I don't know. I feel like we've kind of talked on or touched on it a little bit in the podcast where it's like, it sucks the worst for the artists and the musicians because we were the first to go out of work and the last to go back to work. So we had the work. I mean, some would argue people in hospitals had it worse, but as far as like being out of jobs,
Well, and and it was so difficult because during the whole pandemic, you're just like, my entire job doesn't exist anymore. Like, what do I do? And people are like, just do something else. And you're like, but this is who I am. Like,
I don't want to just go work at a grocery store.
Be something else.
Yeah.
And it was rough. And then not getting help from anybody really, like assistance-wise, because they're like, your job's not really actually a real job.
Right,
whatever.
No government assistance.
Yeah, and you're just like, everybody else is getting help except for the entertainers.
The people that like make life worth living.
Exactly.
Like none of the shows happen without them, and there's so many people. Yeah, it sucks for sure. So what was at the first point of like you wrote a couple tunes or a song, and you're like, oh, this is something.
So the pandemic happened, and then I got dumped by a girl that I was living with.
Man, I feel like we keep hearing all these stories. Like during the pandemic, had the domino.
Yeah, like, and it was just like, holy shit, my entire life sucks. I have nowhere to live. I have no girlfriend. I have no job. I have nothing. And
Didn't you also crash your car too?
That was a couple years before.
Okay. I was like that.
Thankfully, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
But I was just like, what do I fucking do? I have nothing. And I was like, this is the part in someone's story where they like, this is where you start the band. This is when you do it.
That, I mean, through adversity is when some of the best art is ever made.
And like, I started it with this group of dudes, and we ended up having some differences and thinking.
Like every band, when you start out, you got to kind of iron out members.
And I'll save the juicy details because it wasn't the most good of falling outs. But
right,
we're
but
on
like
good terms
first,
now.
But the first iteration, how long did that last for? Maybe like a year? Or?
Yeah, 6 months.
6 months.
Some year, something like that. And
so at that point, you kind of iron out who's willing or, whatever's going to be moving with you forward. You're like, what am I going to do? Is it the same kind of music? Or did you shift?
It was like, kind of. It was kind of like hardcore based.
I think I remember the first iteration because you did release a song,
I did
right?
one song, yeah.
And then you took it back, right?
Yeah, I was like, time
to
get rid of this. It's not that good. But yeah, so that iteration of the band didn't work out, and was like, okay,
restructure here.
what do I do now? The band doesn't exist either.
Did you have more than one song recorded at that point?
We had like a bunch of demos recorded,
but you only had the one song put out.
We only had the one song put out. We're getting ready to put more out, and then it was just like, okay, this doesn't work. Delete it all, start over.
Yeah, rescratch.
Yeah, and then I was like, all right, what am I? I was like, I'm just gonna learn myself how to write good songs, and then I'm going to find the dudes that want to play the music.
Right.
Instead of trying to find dudes and make the songs, I'm going to make the songs and then find the dudes.
Exactly what I did with our band, Poet Bones. Same thing. Like, I'm sick of, because I kept having the same exact thing happen in other groups where you do that and break up and whatever else. So it's like, I'm just going to write all the music and get everything in place how I want it. And then you get your buddies or whoever else, and then you find the right group of people that way. It's easier than exactly. The other way is so much more of a struggle.
So many bands, and it's like always got to the point where like I almost have something to show the world,
and then it all falls apart.
It's like I'm starting to look like a failure and a joke because I am almost 30 years old and have nothing out.
You just got to take care of it yourself. And just,
So you're like,
so how long before all of this were you getting into like producing and all of that stuff?
I was dipping my toes into it a little bit, and then COVID happened, and I was like, this is a perfect opportunity.
Yeah, I got nothing but time.
I was like, I've got nothing but time, and like I've always wanted my music to sound better.
I want to say that's when we probably first met.
I think so.
Was around that time because that's when we started recording with Blue at Bamboo. I think 2020, 2021 or something. So that's when I would have met you.
And then just oddly enough, how the universe works.
Yeah.
Blue hit me up just on Instagram, and he's like, "Hey man, like, you want a job?" And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, it's a pandemic.
Yeah. And I was like, I have absolutely no job. And went over there and worked for a little while, and then ended up being like, I like recording, but this is just, I don't see myself being a recording guy.
But it's good that you got all those skills in terms to do your own music and work on your own stuff,
like, holy shit, I'm so grateful for Bamboo. It like leveled me up so many ways.
How were you attacking the songwriting process then for Blue Widow at that point? Were you just like, I'm going to write, for instance, like Dan Whitaker of Flight Pass, he's like, I'm going to write a song a month and put it out and work on it. Were you doing that kind of stuff, like a song every week? Or
I was trying to like put out a song. I was trying to like write a song a week.
Okay.
That was my goal, was to like put out something a week. Not put out, but like
start to finish produced by yourself.
And like most of those songs that I wrote during that time, I just have thrown away at this point. Like,
but you had to get
flush out the ideas.
You got to flush out the ideas, work it up, and I mean it's like the funnel thing, right? Not every single one of them is going to be good. Not every first draft's not the best. Yeah. So you're just kind of going through and picking out which one's the best, and the exercise of getting into writing.
Before at Bamboo, I had like no idea how to write a song.
Interesting. Okay,
and like
cool.
Shit was just like jarring, and then went to Bamboo, and I was like, holy
got your education.
Shit. This guy Blue actually knows how to write songs. And
and not just we're not talking about any songs. We're talking about songs.
We're talking about songs.
The real songs.
Yeah. And I was like, damn, these are the type of like. I got sick of just being like surrounded by all the same musicians that were all the same like skill level wise.
Yeah.
We're all like doing the same thing, all kind of.
Right.
Same level. And it's like, I want to be the shittiest musician in the room for once.
Yes.
I'm sick of being like the most decent player or whatever.
Right. You're
like,
not
I want to be the worst.
You're what is the term is like, would you rather be the best of the worst or the worst of the best? And worst of the best is what I would say you would always want to be. Because then you're always learning and growing. It's like so interesting. For example, with our group, I did the same thing. It's like I want to surround myself with musicians that are way better than me, because then I'm the weakest link. I have to rise to the occasion, and it's made me better because it's like you have no choice. Like you have to. It's just like, I guess comedians talk about that all the time too. They're like, oh, if you surround yourself with the killers, like then you'll all of a sudden just start learning all their tricks, and they're giving you all this advice, and then you start becoming a killer yourself. Slaying it. So it makes sense. So how many at that point did you already have Jimmy in mind for being the vocalist? Or?
Yeah, I hit him up like right after the first iteration broke up, and I was like, because me and Jimmy played in a Morris together. And I was like, man,
so
Jimmy's
it's kind
great.
of I was like,
you want to like start a band? And he's like, I'd love to. And I was like, cool, I will.
Cool, I got the songs.
I'll get working on it. I'll just figure out how to do this. And then...
So were you just constantly sending him your demos then?
Yeah, just sending him my demos, and then...
So he's somewhat doing a vetting process then, or did he write to every single demo? Or he's like, no, I don't really like this one as much, or I like this one more.
It would basically get to the point where I'm like, all right, this is the song that I think is the best. I'm going to take it to Blue so we can final record it, get his input on it, and then we'll start doing
kind of polish it up and then just go from there.
Yeah.
And then bring Mr. James in.
And then brought the song to Blue, recorded it, and then we were like, this song sucks.
Really?
Delete.
The first one?
Yeah, we were like, it's not that it was a bad song. It was just like, this
wasn't fitting the lane you were trying to go down.
Blue, we had a session where he's just like, what are you trying to do? And it just like, I was like, fucking tailspin. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, because that's important. You got to figure out what you want to do.
I had no aim on my vision.
Right.
I was like, I just want to do the thing. And he's like, well, who do you want to like kind of sound like? I don't know.
Well, you got to figure that out.
And then like, well, like let's listen to some of your ideas, and then like listening back to him, I was like, I hate all of these. Like all of these ideas.
But you had to write those to get to the songs you did, so it's no regrets.
And
for
then
sure.
like we ended up just calling the session, and I just went home being like so defeated, being like,
interesting.
Why am I even trying? I can't even write. And then literally like the next day, I was like, stop being a bitch. Stop feeling sorry for yourself.
Get to work.
Get back to work.
Hell yeah.
And
that's awesome. That's inspiring.
Yeah, and then
Oblivion was written.
Oblivion. Yeah, I wrote that song.
Like right away?
Well, I'll give you the juicy details. I found a lump on my nuts. And I was like, oh, fuck. Oh, shit.
That's going to be on the internet forever. That's funny.
And
oh, my God.
What do
I'll
I
give
do?
you the juicy details. I found a lump on my nut.
And I went to a doctor, and he's just like...
What a sentence.
Ooh, I don't know. Like, we'll get it off, send it off for testing. And I was like, oh, shit. And
dude,
during that
whole... poor Kris, man.
That week
You're like,
of like,
fucking bam,
I don't know what's
bam.
going on. And I was like, I'm going to lose a nut. I've got cancer. What the fuck? What am I going to do? I was like, I got to write the most ballsy song to make up for having only one nut. And that's where that song came from.
So I heard King Arthur Camelot. Callbacks. Oh, man. So that's what Oblivion was written off of that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And it ended up just being an ingrown hair. Classic.
Congratulations. I
Classic.
love that.
Yep.
I love it. No, that's the best case scenario.
Yep.
But I love that it's always interesting where inspiration comes from, because obviously it can come from anything. You see a painting, you see this, or you get a lump on your nuts, you know?
Yeah, it's funny. Usually my best ideas come from
lumps on my nuts.
Lumps on my nuts. No, the shittiest times where I'm like, what the fuck do I do? Like,
so when someone asks what the song is about, do you say it's about my nuts?
It's about my nuts.
These nuts.
The original working title for that song was "I've Got No Balls."
Oh God.
Got no balls on me.
But nope, I still got them, and I got a song out now.
I keep trying to figure out a new, rework the Blue Widow name into Blue Balls or something. Blue. Oh God! So, what was the idea behind working with Tommy on the new video?
Oh, good old Tom Bobber.
Yeah, Mr. Tom Bobber.
Well, I had
for those that don't know, the new vocalist for Chelsea Grin.
Yes, and Darko. If you haven't
and
checked
Darko
out Darko
as well,
was real sick.
And if you didn't know as well, I'm in. I play a cowboy in the Blind Kings video. I kicked David through the old winder. And you and I, something else that's kind of fun that we could talk about as well. You and I were both in the Oceano video.
Oh yeah, that's right.
What's the name of it? I played the old corporate zombie.
Fuck, I'm so bad.
And you're in the old church.
Yep, being a good old church boy.
Preach. It's literally what he did. Have you not seen the music video? Clip it in. Clip it in. Right here, if you could just edit in him in the video and then me in the video.
It's called mass produced.
And then also when I said the Chelsea Grin thing, if you could clip in me kicking, and then I also die too. Pablo shoots me.
Fuck.
It was so much fun. It's the reason
that's a good music
we
video.
can cut this out if it's boring. But the reason we did our new video, the pirate video, New Vibrations, we did that because I had so much fun doing the Chelsea Grin one. I was like, yeah, we got to do this is so much fun doing. I guess we had him on the podcast too. If you want to listen back to that, David's podcast. But we just had so much fun doing that. We did the pirate video because of that.
Yeah, I want to do a fun music video.
It's fun. Yeah.
thinking, like,
what you kind of did with it? I mean, you had like the acting and stuff. Going back to that, what was
but I
the
want
idea?
A funny music video.
What was the idea behind bringing him in on that?
So Nate, our bass player,
Right.
him and Tom are real good friends.
Yeah,
They're, like,
Nate.
best buds.
Nate Hill. He's
Nate.
got his own musical project. He's toured with Chelsea Grin and all
yeah,
those
and then
guys
he
too.
was in Divisions, and
He's got a song with a couple of different cool people. Ryan from Miss May I and
yeah. Brian from Red.
yeah, he's got
Good
some
old
cool
Brian.
stuff. If you check that out, shout out Nate Hill. Good
Nate
old boy.
is the man.
Nate's the boy.
But yeah, he's real good friends, and Tom just happened to be flying in that day for rehearsals because they were about to head to Australia, and he's like, "Hey, we need an actor for the video. You want to be in it?" And he's like, "Sure, why not?"
Oh,
and that's
awesome.
just how it came about.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's
it was just
always
like perfect.
fun.
That song, just like everything, every little thing about it was just like the stars aligned in all the perfect.
So
right
was
ways.
this you had recorded that one after the lump was off the balls?
Yeah, this
okay.
is
So
this is
post
lump.
nut.
Yeah,
Post nut.
post nut song.
Post my balls.
I don't think there was any significant to writing that song or writing the demo. at
But you're
least. I
saying
was
everything
just-
clicked in place. What do you mean by like the writing process?
Yeah,
like
just
it
how
just
the
came in
lyrics
one day,
came
or-
about, and Nate wrote most of the lyrics. Him and Jimmy wrote the lyrics together, but
but sonically, did you just write it like really quick, like in an hour or something? Like all the musical side of it coming? Cause
yeah,
it's
just all the ideas kind of flowed, and we ended up cutting some ideas out of it actually. And
interesting. Okay.
So you had post nut clarity.
I did. That's what blue's for. Is my post nut clarity.
A toilet, it's just for farts. You don't run, walk slow.
Can't
You want to read your art books? Has that ever happened to you?
So you can't be a part of the Turbo Club.
Turbo's oh my god. So kind of going back to like Blue and Blue kind of having a conversation of like what direction you want to take Blue Widow, what kind of, how you want it to sound sonically. How did you come across then the heavier, brutal kind of dynamic sound?
I just pulled what was lodged in my brain. It's
Did
just
you
what
already
I heard
have
in my
like
head.
your guitar tuned in B or something?
I play in drop E.
Yeah, so
actually.
you already
Yeah.
had it like tuned and set up in
Yeah,
that.
Ronnie got me playing in drop
And you
E.
just like what I just like to imagine you on a couch and you just start ripping some riffs and you're like, oh, this is it.
Yeah, there was just like, it's just one of those times where you write a riff and you're like, this is the riff. This is it. And then
Yeah, one
just,
of those ones is like intoxicating. You can
Yeah.
just keep playing it over and
just
over
kept
again.
building off of it, and the song just wrote
clicked
itself.
as well.
Yeah.
So, how many songs can we expect? Is this going to be an EP, a full length? Are you
We're
just going
gonna
to keep
do
doing some
singles
singles?
for a while, but we're
Do
gonna
you have an
an
idea of
EP
maybe how
eventually, and
long? Maybe just do like 6 singles and then make it an EP, or
We're gonna do singles and videos for a while and just build a fan base, and then
Work on that.
eventually drop a album or EP
How many-
once we got a good fan
do you have
base.
kind of an idea of what you want to like call the EP and artwork and all that kind of stuff? Like,
Not quite. I mean, I've got a couple ideas in my head, but we're seeing how things evolve.
Okay.
Because I don't want to pave too many things in concrete and work us into a box.
yeah,
you
no,
know?
that makes
I kind of
sense.
just like let things go about how they go and work around it.
How did you come up with the artwork for those singles that you have put out? Is it because it seems like the same person did both of them?
Yeah, Ben Hoagland did them. Actually.
Oh, okay, cool.
Good old Ben.
Yeah, we
from
just had
Extortionist.
we just had
love
them on
Ben.
Wednesday.
Hell yeah, yeah. Ben's the man.
Cool. So did you just kind of tell them like, hey, this is what the song's about, and you just
Yeah,
created
I was
that
like,
for you?
this is what the song. Oblivion. Jimmy wrote that song about like disassociation and feeling like disconnected from like yourself, basically.
And that was your first single.
Yeah, and that was the first single, and I was like, the song's about like kind of like being trapped behind a mask, feeling and like whatever. And
That's the kind of the Phantom of the
Yeah.
Opera type thing. Yeah.
And then the second single is like Mockingbird Society,
Right.
which is kind of about people being a little too brainwashed.
Yeah, it
and
kinda
like
starts,
sucking
like,
on the teat of
Tom being
media.
the old psychiatrist or whatever doing
Mm-hmm.
the. How did that idea come about? You're like, oh, we should have some acting, before the music video starts, or
Yeah, it was just we were like, we need to have like evolve,
have
the
a
next
way to
video
set
evolve.
up, have it kind of like set up the song.
And like the song is about people become a little brainwashed.
Our buddy Tim Burton filmed those for you, right? Which we've
Love
both
Tim.
had, and
Yeah.
he's
Tim's the man.
Slow
Slow
has his
burn.
band with Jimmy as well, Slow Burn. And something kind of I guess another fun story how we're connected again, where the first music video you guys did, Oblivion, Tim accidentally, you guys had shot actually once before that, and Tim accidentally somehow lost it.
Yeah.
And he was telling me, he's like, dude, I don't know what the fuck happened, where it went, but I lost it. I need to get some cabs together for the music video. Can I borrow your Mesa cab? So my amp's in that music video.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, I remember when Tim told me that. I was just like,
oh, yeah. Crushing.
this band is cursed. I was like, I'm cursed. I can't put out music. It's like, it's never going to happen.
It actually does kill. You don't know.
You don't know.
Dude, it sounds like there was so much that, like, when we really dig into it, so much that went into finally getting to release
So many
music.
things, yeah.
And it's so cool that you're finally, like, I guess kind of just going back to how good it feels that it's actually
so good.
out and
Yeah.
you're moving
Oh, man.
forward.
Yeah, and it's like every time there was any of those shitty, like, super trial and error sort of moments where super testing, I just kept thinking about being side stage on that Lindsey Sterling
Yeah,
show
just
and
keep
being
moving
like,
forward.
you said you wanted to do this. Like, how fucking bad do you want it? Because, like, the universe is like, you can just give up and not pursue this.
Yeah,
but
they're
I'm
not
like,
gonna make
no,
it
I'm
easy.
still. Who cares if music has been deleted overnight, concerts don't even exist, and now I don't have anywhere to live? Like, I'm still going for this shit.
Hell yeah.
Like, I'm not stopping.
Dude,
I want it.
That's so, it's super inspiring, and congrats as well for getting through
thank
all
you.
that. Obviously, we have all kinds of friends that would have just called it quits and have called it
There's
quits and
plenty
never
of
get
times
out
where I
of
was
the
like,
basement.
man,
you know?
I should probably just give up. This is so hard. But
Yeah.
no.
Yeah,
fuck
I
that.
mean, that's the funny thing for some people that don't create music or don't write or create any kind of art. They're not in it from the outside perspective. They just think, like, for an example, when our guitar player Carter joined us, it was his first time being in a band and making a record and stuff. And I remember, I don't even know how many months into recording, he's like, wow, I didn't realize how much goes into
It's
making music and
so
recording and
much
doing
work.
being a band. Like,
Yeah, it's
so much goes
crazy.
in. And to think that we just do all that and spend all this money and all this time and then we put it out for free for somebody to listen to it for once on their phone.
Oh, I know, and it's just like, man, am I crazy?
Yeah,
this is
seems-
a
yeah.
lot of work for not a lot of reward. But
mean-
it's who I am.
That's what that's the reason the podcast exists. That's the reason we came
Yeah.
up with it, is to take kind of the downsides, highlight the lowlights of being a musician and flip them into a positive, you know?
Exactly.
So,
that's
that
what
being-
makes it cool. Is it's the symphony of music. It's
Exactly.
the lows and the highs. Can't appreciate the highs without the lows.
And that's what makes that's why life is good, right?
Exactly.
Because it's short, but
Well, and I think the fact that you've experienced those lows just give all of those highs even more meaning. Like I
Exactly.
think somebody
they make you appreciate them.
yeah,
Yeah,
somebody would take most of these things for granted, like having not experienced those. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, I kind of felt like I did the Lindsey Sterling thing so quickly. Like, it happened so quickly. There's like so many people that have worked in this industry for like decades and have never been on tour, and I did it like first year.
yeah.
Like, so it's just like I've kind of felt like I kind of did it the wrong way the first time, and I like jumped too many steps.
No regrets, man.
And like, I don't know,
You can't look at it that way.
I was a little
because-
ungrateful about some things, and it's just like I was super grateful about most of the things, but I definitely took some shit for granted. I was
Right.
getting a little jaded.
But
and
you
I was
wouldn't be
like,
human if you didn't. Though.
Exactly, and it's like,
But-
cool, now I get to start over again. and
But
do it the right way.
everything, like the domino effect, that thing need to happen to get you to this thing, or like, I mean, maybe if that thing didn't happen to this part, if you never did the Lindsey Sterling tour, maybe Blue Widow never would have created music or put it out. So, if that's what you had to do to get to, releasing this Blue Widow music, then it was worth it. You know what
Exactly,
I
I
mean?
would do it 100%.
Do it again.
Do
So,
it again,
yeah.
100% every time.
So going back to kind of that, what's your kind of some of your funniest, horrible tour show stories that's happened?
Oh man, Lindsey Sterling is like the queen of pranks. She loved pranks. She's all about pranks.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, like she'll
Like
bring out
innocent pranks, or
pretty innocent pranks. They're not like
or like clogging your toilet in your
nah,
hotel room.
they're pretty innocent pranks.
I didn't even know he's allowed to do
She'll
that.
bring out like Nerf guns on stage and shit.
Including George Lopez. So she brought Nerf guns out on this.
Yeah, well, she'll like have Nerf gun or
Like
she wouldn't
little
do it on
ones or
stage.
big ones?
Like big Nerf guns, and she'll have all her dancers, and they'll like assault you when you're like doing load in. She's like Nerf battle, and just everybody will just get shot up.
Oh, that's fun.
And we got her back one night, like last song, as she's
Oh,
like.
I thought you meant like
rapping.
she goes, you're all hiding in her hotel room. She goes to sleep, lights turn off, and you all just.
No, it's just like the last song, and the whole crew got Nerf guns, and we just like bombarded the stage.
Oh, that's
and
amazing.
just unloaded on her.
You're like, we have to pick it up anyways.
Yeah. Oh, so
well,
many,
they're just like Nerf bullets everywhere.
every fucking where.
That's awesome. I'd like to see some footage of that.
Yeah, and then
so,
I think
like,
we
just a
stopped back
bunch.
at that venue a couple years later, and they're like, dude, we're still finding Nerf bullets from that night. It's like, that's amazing.
How many people would you say had Nerf gun? 20?
No, like 10.
Okay.
Maybe
So
like
but
7.
it was just
something
her
like that.
getting pelted.
Her and like the band and the dancers.
How
We
many
just got
band
everybody.
members?
She's got a drummer and then like a keyboard player that also plays guitar.
Oh, so it's only a trio.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
And then
That's
she's got
cool.
4 dancers.
Good old Nerf battle.
Yeah, good old Nerf battles.
Yeah.
Man, drawing a blank, but she's like, yeah, the queen of pranks. She does so many pranks.
It's going to be one of those things where you'll leave, you'll get
Yeah,
in
I'm
your
like,
car,
fuck,
and you're,
now I know what.
Yep,
Son of a bitch.
That's how it always
It's
goes.
like when that you have that interaction with that person, and
Yep.
you're like, fuck, that's what I should have said. That's a perfect response. As you're in the shower, you're like, should I call him?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll call him.
Yeah, and then we'll just put it over the microphone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what was your first ever show?
Ooh. First time ever like playing in front
Yeah,
of people?
yeah.
It was at church. A Mormon
How old
church,
were
and I
you?
was playing Kiss songs.
How old were you?
I was like fucking 12.
So that must be surreal for you when you got to do the Kiss tour. You're like, what
Yeah,
the
I
fuck?
was like, this is crazy. I'm playing with Kiss now?
What-
or not
what-
playing with Kiss, but yeah, you know, sharing a bill with Kiss.
So what songs were you playing?
I think it's called She. It's just
Okay.
one song. It was like
Just you and a guitar? Did you sing?
I was in this little band. I was taking lessons at this like place, and they were trying to do like you guys ever seen the movie School of Rock?
Yeah, of course.
Obviously. They were
Yeah.
doing like something like that, where they're trying to get like musicians together, little kids to learn songs and shit.
That's awesome.
We learned
yeah.
one, Kiss song, and it was cool, and did that, and then.
So you're just playing guitar?
I was playing bass.
Oh, bass again.
Mhm.
Interesting.
That's where I started. Was bass.
What was your first bass?
It was. I still have it. I was looking at it yesterday.
You
It's
do?
a Squire Pete Wentz bass.
Yeah,
sick.
that's awesome. So how many? So it was at a church. Was it like one of those gymnasium stage ones?
No, there was like a pulpit in front of me and stuff. It was like a church, and like,
You were like at the front.
dude, it was like a Mormon recital, and we were playing Kiss songs.
Wow, that's insane. So how many people were there?
25, 30. It was not
Your
that many.
first show was in a church.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. Usually people say pizza joints.
True. That is.
And
Was
then,
there, was there pizza? Was there refreshments?
fuck, I don't remember.
Oh, there might have been pizza.
Yeah, there probably was.
Change your story. There's
There was
pizza.
some.
cocoa.
Yeah, I think
Hot cocoa. That's
With
worse.
marshmallows.
That's worse. Was it in the winter? It's possible. That's
Probably.
plausible. Very
I
plausible.
think it was in the winter.
Was it a Monday?
I don't know.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, it's definitely Monday.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and then did the.
Did you guys kill it? Did you kill it?
Yeah, sure.
You don't remember?
Totally.
Did it go well? Do you remember going well?
I mean, yeah, it went well. There was no train wrecks or anything. Played the song.
but
start to
you had,
finish?
you had rehearsed it before. So you,
Rehearsed
yeah.
it so many times. Yeah.
Oh, it's
So.
well, not one of those things where one of the kids shows up and hasn't like done their homework for
Yeah,
the
and
group
you're
assignment.
like,
Like, I don't know what we're doing.
What do I play?
It wasn't that.
No.
Okay, good.
And then did the School of Rock thing for a while.
Did they just have all kinds of different performances?
Yeah, it was just like a typical
Recitals.
recital.
Okay.
Had piano players, violin, and then a
Interesting.
rock band.
What other songs would you guys do?
We just did one song. We
That's
just
it?
did that one Kiss song, and that's it.
Interesting.
That's all we learned.
Okay. Never did any other shows?
Mm-mm. I can't remember. I think it just fizzled out from there on. Somebody left, and then it was just like, what's the point? And then I think I moved on to the School of Rock they were starting a School of Rock up in Park City, because that's where
Yeah,
I
there was. I
grew up.
remember. So those that don't know, they actually made a documentary about the guy that started the school,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember looking it up after watching that because it was a great documentary. And I also was a fan of School of Rock as a kid too.
Mm-hmm. How did
And
you
I
know?
found that honestly, this is gonna date me. I found the DVD of that documentary. The reason I found it was because it was next to the actual School of Rock in a blockbuster video.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got to figure out what this is because
Yeah.
the covers are like Mohawk or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember looking it up because I lived in Idaho and we were about to move back to Utah. And I was like, I want to do this so bad. And I found out there was the one in Salt Lake and Draper or whatever, and then the one in Park City. And I was like, I want to go so bad. But my dad's like, I'm not driving you up to Draper every day.
Yeah.
Living in Spanish Fork.
Yeah,
so-
bless my dad's heart, because
Did you live in Salt Lake?
I lived in Park City.
Oh, so
I grew up in Park City.
but that's crazy that they started one there.
Yeah, they tried to start one there, and it only worked for a little while.
Okay.
fuck Park City kids. They're all shitheads. That's why it doesn't work. Entitled brats don't want to play music. It's too hard.
Just want to go snowboarding.
Yeah, I just want money.
I just want to go to Sundance.
Yeah. I just want validation.
I just want validation. This isn't it. So how long were you up at the Park City one?
Was there for like, I think they did 2 or 3 seasons.
Interesting.
So like,
still playing bass?
Yeah, still playing bass. And then moved down to the Sandy one. Because that was like the more legit one where all the good players were. And I was like, that's where I want to be. And
not just like the teachers, but the players?
They had the same teachers. The teachers would drive up to Park City and shit.
Okay.
So,
but the kids that were actually good were in the Salt Lake area.
Yeah.
And what year was this?
2009.
Oh, okay. Yo's. Dios.
Yeah, good old O years.
Oh, yeah. So at that point, what kind were you listening to the heavier type music that was popular then, or were you just still listening to rock and Kiss?
I remember one of the School of Rock seasons was the heavy metal season.
Oh, really?
Like, that's tight. And that was the tipping point where I
was
Is that
when you started getting
metal
into
is
that?
the shit. And it's just been a down.
What was the first thing that popped the
now.
cherry then? Slipknot, Metallica, or something? Megadeth?
I was always like kind of into heavier shit, but like as a kid, like I remember buying. Oh, the first CD I remember I bought was a Mudvayne CD. The first CD my dad told me, like, you can't listen to that one outside. It's too much. It was like a Mudvayne CD.
Yeah. Isn't that dude, didn't that dude end up being in a band with the Pantera drummer called Hell Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I had a friend touring with them, and I saw them do a tour with, it's not Falling in Reverse. What's the other one that sounds like them?
Falling
in Forward. Ha. This is such a good joke. Laugh.
Fuck you, Keaton.
He puts in the laugh bit. I was trying to think of it. Escape the Fate.
Ah, yes.
That's who she was touring with. Anywho's. But so that Mudvayne was the one that popped the cherry.
I remember Atreyu was the first band that I liked that had like harsh vocals.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I forgot about those
sounds
guys.
like they're throwing up. It sounds like all these guys are throwing up.
Those guys were so popular back then.
Yeah,
Holy
they were.
shit.
They
yeah,
were
they
some
were
of the. I
huge.
met them, and they were some of the nicest dudes. And I was just
like
a
later on in
tiny little
life?
kid. No, I was like 13.
Oh, you went to one of their shows?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
My mom used to.
He had like the Explorer looking guitar with the blood.
Yeah, dude, I wanted one of those so bad.
From ESP.
Yeah, I wanted one of those so bad. I still want one.
Yeah,
they're sick.
Do they still make them?
I don't
or
think
just
so,
like
but you can
limited
still
edition
find
from
them.
back then. Yeah. Because for those that don't know, you're like a guitar tech. You work on guitars all the time.
I do. Every day. All day.
I guess that's another thing we have in common. I used to do that as well, working at a music store. Maybe we could share some funny stories. Like, do you have any funny like requests or anything that you've had?
Oh yeah.
I've had some like I remember one guy bringing this horrible. I mean, you have it all the time, but like this guitar that's not even a guitar. You know, obviously you get the plastic instruments and whatever else, but this thing was just like somebody made their own guitar. And obviously that's probably one of the things you hate too, is people that put together their own guitars. Like, can you fix this?
Yeah,
like, this sucks so bad.
And you're like, just don't put it together. Just let me do it, please.
Why do you the same amount you spent on this crappy Frankenstein guitar, you could have bought a nice guitar.
Exactly. Like the amount of work it's going to take to make this nice, you could have just bought a nice guitar.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
What's the craziest thing you've had someone do?
It employs me, so do it.
What's the craziest thing you've had someone do?
Oh man.
You've worked on all kinds of cool people's guitars over the years, right?
I have. Worked for a bunch of cool people's guitars.
Like Aaron Gillespie and other buddies around. And,
the dudes in Oceano and Spide.
And, those guys have the heavy metal guitars.
Yes, heavy metals.
Heavy metals.
I think the most interesting thing about
being a guitar tech
is like
guitar tech.
No, one of the most difficult things I would say is like trying to explain to someone that the reason their guitar sounds bad is because they sound bad, and it's not actually the guitar. Like you put all this work in, and they're like, it's still doing all this stuff. It just doesn't sound very good. I'm like, it's because your technique is not very good. Because you're not very good at guitar. That's why it doesn't sound good.
I've definitely had those moments where they're like, there's something wrong with it, and like,
like,
no, it's fine, and then you like behind the
nothing
bench like just tune it, and then like, all right, here you go, act like you actually did something to it, but it's a psyche of like, okay, yeah, that's a lot better. It's like, all I did was tune it.
Yeah.
Like they're like, no, the truss rod's still bad. It's like, no, it's perfect.
Yeah,
it's
or
perfect,
someone would be
sir.
like, this setup is terrible. You got to do all this stuff, and you like, we'll make one little adjustment, and he's like, no, this is even worse, and you put it back to right where it was before, and he's like, this is perfect now. This is I love it.
This
and you're
psychological,
like,
yeah.
You're like,
or they're like, dude, yeah, it's because your guitar needs to get plexed, motherfucker.
yeah, and it's just like because it's got shitty frets,
Yeah,
man.
it's a shit guitar. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
It's
Your
not gonna
Epiphone
play
doesn't
good.
sound good.
Yeah. But yeah, I work at Guitar Czar as one of their techs as luthiers, and love those people. Great place to work. And then, yeah, some of the requests people have.
Yeah,
there's just like you're asking for the impossible. Like, you can't do that.
I don't know if you're allowed to do that.
I don't know if you're allowed to do that. You can't skip lunch.
So when is Blue Widow going to start playing some shows here soon?
Eventually. We want to build a fan base up first, and
get some more songs out there. Get enough songs to play set.
Exactly. We could play a fucking 7-minute set right now.
Can you say that you have like more like songs already written and demoed?
Oh yeah, I've got so many demos ready. And,
so there's no actual songs ready to go already, or
there's more songs in the works
that are finished.
Getting ready. They're not quite finished. They're almost finished.
Okay, cool. But expect more music soon.
Yes,
that's awesome.
And it's gonna keep coming.
Just keep
I ain't stopping. If shit hasn't stopped me at this point, nothing is going to.
A wise man once said, "The songs start coming and they don't stop coming."
And they don't stop coming. And they don't stop coming. And they don't stop coming. And they don't stop coming.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, man. Do you want to kind of plug your, the Blue Widow's socials and all that?
Yeah, it's just Blue Widow Music on
Instagram,
and then just Blue Widow
on Spotify and all the YouTube, all the cool videos. Check them on out.
Yep.
Cool.
Videos are real cool.
Yeah.
I liked them.
Go check
Good
those
fun.
out. And thanks so much for listening.
Yeah. And watching.
Yeah.
I've got beautiful notes.
If we could.
Thanks for listening to You Guys Shred.